So let's talk about the missing deadline. So what made you miss the deadline at work?
Well, I had some trouble finishing one part of the project, and it also required like a part from my other partner, and I just didn't get their part in time, maybe through some miscommunication. So
Okay.
kind of snowballed.
Got it. And what makes you think that your boss is mad at you? Did he tell you that or?
When he first heard, yeah, he was a little hard on me.
Okay.
He does his classic yelling thing. But
That sounds like an intense work
he calmed
environment.
down.
Well, what's something that you could do to work on making sure that you don't miss another deadline? What's something that you could you put something on your calendar to set an alarm? How could you make sure you don't miss another deadline?
I probably should have had some reminders, because
Okay.
I think it did come down to me forgetting to communicate at the appropriate time. Kind of knowing that deadline was coming, but if I had been aware of it a few days earlier, I could have gotten those messages sent and gotten the part I needed.
Okay. And it sounds like your boss is pretty intense. So I wonder if it would be helpful for you to do like a weekly check-in with him, just to make sure that you two are on the same page, that you are meeting his expectations and just kind of getting a little closer to him. Do you think that's something you could do? Okay.
I mean, I'd be totally willing to do that.
Okay. Can we make that part of our action plan for this week, that we'll schedule kind of whatever
talk to him
works for
about
you
it.
and your boss? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's talk about the coworker. Is this a coworker that's usually difficult for you?
Occasionally.
Okay.
I think that they're got a lot going on. I've got a lot going on, and so sometimes it feels like we're not 100% in the game at work. And so when there's two of us who are like that, it's harder to get stuff done with this guy.
What's something? Okay, let's think of some ways to smooth things over with him, because I know that's kind of been on your mind. It's keeping you awake. So what's something that your coworker is really good at, or that you could ask him for help with?
He's really good at drafting. I actually ask him questions on this quite a bit, just the specifics on drafting using our program that we use to get our projects drafted.
Okay. Do you think this week, so a lot of the time when we have a difficulty with a coworker, boss, whoever it is, it works better to find something that you need help from them or compliment them to build up their confidence, which improves the relationship that you have with them, because they feel good, they can help you, it'll get you two closer. So I'm wondering if that's also something you could do this week, is maybe look for something that you could ask for help with from your coworker to try and, close that gap that you guys are having.
Sure, yeah, other projects I could
Okay.
get some help on.
Okay.
I could try some compliments.
Okay, good. Yeah, try it. A friend of mine always says, we catch more flies with honey. And I'll tell you what, you're never going to get in trouble for being nice to someone. So it's always better to try that approach first and help improve this other person's confidence and how they feel about themselves. And usually it'll help you get what you're trying to achieve done as well. So let's try that this week. Okay. So we've kind of decided what we want to do with those two things. And I know that those have been keeping you awake at night. Now that we've made a decision on what we're going to do, I want to schedule some time for you to have just like a worry time about it. So today's Friday. You won't be back at work till, I think you said Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday. Okay, so for the next 3 days, you're going to have some stress waiting to talk to these people, right? So maybe we could set aside a time for you to just worry your heart out about this, and then you're not allowed to think about it outside of that time. Let me give you an example. So one time, it was a Saturday, and I'm driving my car, and I realized, oh my gosh, I administered this driving assessment incorrectly. I told this person to use 2 feet. He does not have a manual. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I made this mistake. And I was like, I'm gonna get fired. oh my gosh. And so I went through what's the worst thing that could happen? What's the best thing that could happen? What's most realistic? And, you know, once I had decided all of those things, I mean, worst case scenario, I get fired. Best case scenario is they laugh about it. Most realistic is I apologize and they're like, okay, right? I've made mistakes before. So then what I did is I gave myself 4 minutes to worry about that because I wasn't going to see this patient again until Monday. And then that kept it within this like boundary, so it didn't ruin my whole weekend. So every time I started to think about it outside of that worry time, I had to stop and save it for that next worry time. It's okay to write things down, but you really want to try and confine it. So what would be a good time for you to let yourself worry about this for about 5 minutes until you address the situation on Tuesday?
Just after work in my alone time.
Okay,
Maybe.
let's think of a time that's farther from bedtime. What about, and it's the weekend, so you have the next 3 days off. Could we do something like maybe over your cup of coffee, over your morning cup of coffee? Would that work?
Okay. Yeah, I could make that work.
Is that okay? Just 5 minutes and set a timer so you're not always having to look at it, and really try and challenge yourself to only worry about this upcoming conversation that you're going to have with your boss and your coworker during that time.
Okay.
Okay?